This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Good evening, Philippines, and good day, world. It's Saturday, December 9, 2023, and you're watching Newsline World. I'm Trey Gomez, bringing you the top stories we've gathered from all over the globe. The Department of Foreign Affairs gave an update on the 17 Filipino seafarers held captive by Houthi rebels since November 19. We'll find out more about this later on. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu warned the Iran-backed Hezbollah of indicted for the second time after being charged with tax evasion worth $1.4 million. And Japan aims for a so-called blue carbon decarbonization using seaweed beds to reduce emissions. These and more in tonight's edition of Newsline World. In the news, U.S. presidential son Hunter Biden is facing his second federal indictment, and this time on tax-related counts that would or could possibly land him in prison for 17 years. Andrea Santos reports.
Presidential son Hunter Biden received tax charges filed by federal prosecutors. The U.S. Justice Department has filed 9 new charges against the presidential son, and this includes failure to file and pay taxes, tax evasion, and filing a false return. Authorities claim that Hunter Biden had been using the money to lead a quote-unquote extravagant lifestyle. In a 56-page indictment filed in California, prosecutors alleged that between 2016 and October 15, 2020, Hunter Biden spent his money on drugs, escorts and girlfriends, luxury hotels and rental properties, exotic cars, clothing, and other items of a personal nature. In short, everything but his taxes. And if convicted in the tax case, Hunter could face up to 17 years in jail. The first time that Hunter Biden was indicted was in September of this year. The case is about allegations that he lied about using drugs when purchasing a firearm. Hunter also previously faced misdemeanor on tax-related charges. Meanwhile, his lawyer on Thursday said that the new charges are politically motivated. Biden's attorney, Abby Lowell, in a statement said that if his client's last name was anything other than Biden, the charges in Delaware and now California would not have been brought. It can be noted that President Joe Biden is not mentioned in the indictment, and the White House has yet to comment on the matter. Reporting, this has been Andrea Santos, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, retired U.S. Police Chief Alan Hostetter has been sentenced to over 11 years in prison for his role in the January 6, 2021 riot on U.S. Capitol Hill. Ruth Hamilton has the details.
A Washington court passed the sentence on Hostetter based on his July conviction on charges including conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding as well as entering a restricted building with a deadly or dangerous weapon. Hostetter, 59 years old, was believed to be a Trump supporter. He also chose to represent himself at the trial. Reports say that all through it, Hostetter firmly believes that President Biden had stolen the election from former President Donald Trump. The court handed him 135 months of jail time. According to the U.S. Justice Department, more than 1,230 individuals involved in the January 6, 2021 riot have been charged. Of this number, more than 720 have been convicted, and of these 720 people, more than 450 will serve jail time. Former U.S. President Donald Trump, who has already been indicted in Georgia, will also go on trial in Washington on March 4, 2024 on charges of conspiring to overturn the November 2020 election results. This is Ruth Hamilton, SMNI News.
Police forces from Brazil and Colombia teamed up to destroy illegal dredges used for mining gold in the Amazon rainforest. Natalia Prado reports.
Brazilian and Colombian forces blew up 19 illegal gold mining sites and equipment in the Amazon during the bilateral operation. The illegal dredges allegedly produced around 23 kilograms of gold, worth nearly $1.5 million every month. The gold miners illegally dumped 114,000 grams of mercury and about 68 million liters of polluted water into the rivers. Brazil and Colombia intensified their crackdown against illegal gold mining as the pollution poses a great threat to the world's largest rainforest. Both sides launched the operation in their respective borders. The land masses of Brazil and Colombia are covered by Amazon rainforest. The world's largest rainforest is hailed as the lungs of the earth. Amazon plays an important role in slowing down climate change by absorbing about 25% of the world's carbon dioxide. Reporting for Newsline World, Natalia Prado, SM9 News.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu threatens to devastate Beirut if Hezbollah opens an all-out war with Israel. This comes after military reports that an Israeli civilian was killed due to a missile launched by Hezbollah. Carlo de la Peña reports.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has said that devastation in southern Lebanon would occur if Hezbollah opens a second front in the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. He also warned that it could turn Beirut into today's Gaza. Netanyahu issued the warning during his visit to the Israeli Defense Forces Northern Command headquarters.
ואני מציע גם לאויבים שלנו שישימו לב לרוח הזאת. כי אם חיזבאללה יבחר לפתוח במלחמה כוללת, אז הוא במו ידיו יהפוך את ביירות ואת דרום לבנון, לא רחוק מכאן, לעזה ולח'אן יונס. אנחנו נחושים להביא את הניצחון ונעשה את זה בעזרתכם.
The Northern Command oversees the units that have exchanged fire with Hezbollah along the border between the Jewish state and Lebanon in the weeks since the October 7 Hamas terror attack. Right now, Israel's focus is on the south of Gaza as its troops reportedly enter Khan Yunis. Cross-border firing has been happening every day between the forces of Israel and Hezbollah after the group expressed its support to Hamas. The warning also came after the Israeli military said that a guided missile attack from Lebanon killed an Israeli civilian in northern Israel recently. According to Israeli public broadcaster Khan, the civilian was a farmer, while the Jewish state's ambulance service said that he was a 60-year-old man. Israeli jets struck at a Hezbollah command and control center in response to the attack. Meanwhile, the Israeli military responded to allegations of using white phosphorus in southern Lebanon, saying that it only used legal weapons and ammunition. The response came after the Lebanon National News Agency alleged that phosphorus was shelled by the Israeli forces on the outskirts of Ramesh town. Reporting, this has been Carlo de la Peña, SM9 News.
Iran has demanded for the United States to pay billions of dollars in damages for the killing of a top Iranian general nearly 4 years ago. Melchizedek Cadiz for the details.
An Iranian court ruled the U.S. government, including dozens of individuals and entities, should pay nearly $50 billion in compensation for their role in assassinating General Qasem Soleimani and an Iraqi lieutenant. The 62-year-old Iranian general and his Iraqi lieutenant were killed by a drone strike near Baghdad International Airport on January 3, 2020. Iran accused former President Donald Trump as the mastermind behind the drone strike. U.S. officials justified the strike as a response to the escalating attacks against U.S. personnel in the region. Soleimani was an Iranian major general and commander of the Quds Force, one of the 5 branches of Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. The Iranian general was considered the second most powerful person in Iran after Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. Reporting, this has been Melchizedek Cadiz, SM9 News, Kuwait.
In the Middle East, Saudi Prince Talal bin Abdulaziz bin Bandar Al Saud was killed in a plane crash as announced by the Saudi Royal Court. Funeral prayers for the deceased royal would be performed in the Imam Turki bin Abdullah Mosque in Riyadh. The court did not reveal the cause of death of the 62-year-old Saudi prince. However, Lebanon's Al-Mashhad news outlet reported that he died when his F-15 fighter jet crashed during a training exercise with the Royal Saudi Air Force. Born in 1961, Prince Talal bin Abdulaziz was a lieutenant colonel in the Royal Saudi Air Force and served as an assistant chief at the Saudi Intelligence Agency from 2004 to 2012. Meanwhile, Japan plans to promote the use of seaweed beds to reduce carbon emissions and achieve its net zero target by 2050. Kyoko Hashimoto has the details.
Japanese delegates attending the ongoing United Nations Climate Summit in the United Arab Emirates will campaign for blue carbon decarbonization measures such as the creation of the seaweed beds. An estimated 70,000 delegates, including those from Japan, are participating in the ongoing 28th Conference of the Parties to the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, known as COP28, which started on 30th of November and ends on the 2nd of December. Blue carbon is simply the carbon captured by the world's ocean and coastal ecosystems, such as seaweed and seagrass meadows, tidal marshes, and mangrove forests, which form part of the blue carbon ecosystem as defined by the UN Environment Program. Seaweeds produce 70% more oxygen than land plants and absorb carbon more effectively than trees, making them a crucial resource in addressing climate change. The marine plant can store an estimated 175 million tons of carbon each year. Japan aims to reduce its greenhouse gas emission by 46% in 2030 and achieve net zero emission by 2050. Ijo Hashimoto, Kyoko nihon kara hokuku itashimashita. SMNI News, Japan.
Meanwhile, Japan is facing warmer temperatures this winter season compared to the normal cold expected during this time of the year. In Tokyo, the temperature on Thursday was 0 degrees Celsius, higher than the anticipated low temperature for December. At the end of November, temperatures dropped to negative 10 degrees Celsius, the highest recorded temperature in Tokyo, signaling the onset of the winter season. Meanwhile, the weather has warmed up again this week, and the capital city may experience temperatures possibly reaching 20 degrees Celsius over the weekend, which is an unusual occurrence for this month. Not only residents but also ski resorts are grappling with sudden change in weather, causing concerns during what is typically their peak season in the winter. The current warmer temperatures have hindered the accumulation of natural snow in some ski resorts, prompting them to invest in artificial snow to maintain their businesses during the winter season. Some ski resorts in Japan are still struggling with insufficient natural snow. This forced them to produce fake ones using snow machines to get their business running. There is a clarification today from a renowned actor and singer regarding misconceptions about military training for the youth. MJ Mondiha reports from the Philippine Military Academy in Baguio City.
The guest speaker is actor and singer Ronnie Liang at the ongoing National Youth Convention here in Baguio City. The National Youth Commission spearheads the program. More than 1,800 young government leaders from across the Philippines are participating in the event. As an Army reservist, he aims to convey the importance of military training, especially for the youth.
Importante ho yun kasi kagaya nga ng sabi ni Dr. Jose Rizal, kabataan ng pag-asa ng bayan. Pero kung dadagdagan ko, ang kabataan na may takot sa Diyos, may disiplina, may pangarap, may hangarin makapaglingkod sa bayan, ang pag-asa ng bayan.
Liang is a reservist in the Philippine Army with the rank of First Lieutenant. He is also a licensed commercial pilot. He emphasizes that the discipline instilled through military training is a significant help in his personal life.
Mas lalong nag-apoy, no, yung pagmamahal ko sa bayan. I was able to expose in different sectors. Mas lalong nakita ko yung kahalagahan ng pagtulong. Kasi, the government cannot do it alone. They need our help. They need you, they need me, they need all of us.
Vice President Sara Duterte personally advocates for the reinstatement of the Mandatory Reserve Officers Training Corps, or ROTC. For high school students, this is equivalent to Citizenship Advancement Training, or CAT. According to Liang, these programs are a significant help for the youth.
Right now, we have a 1.2 million reservists. And yung mga iba, like magandang example, ang Ukraine, ang Israel, they have reservists. Ang South Korea, di ba, sila nga, they have, 2 years silang nagtitrain. Kahit K-pop ka pa. Mandatory pa. Tayo, if ever, once a week lang.
Once mandatory ROTC is reintroduced in schools, the Armed Forces expects to add 2 million reservists every year. The country's standard reserve forces will also expand, ready to be activated for service as needed. Apart from Liang, notable celebrity reservists include Rocco Nacino, Mateo Guidicelli, and Dingdong Dantes. Before entering the competition, Miss Universe Philippines Michelle D also underwent military reservist training, expressing her dream of being part of the Philippine Army.
Ni-encourage ko po ang bawat isa to join us to be a member of the reserve force. Tayo po ay magtulong-tulong, magsama-sama para sa bayan natin. And wala pong tutulong sa Pilipino, hindi kapwa Pilipino. Kami pong salamat.
Aside from Vice President Duterte, no less than President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. supports the reinstation of the mandatory ROTC as more lawmakers, congressmen and senators are supporting the bill. For Ganabalo Philippines, I'm Jay Mondihar, SMNI News.
More news when Newsline World returns.
Tatanungin, kahit saang aspeto, gusto ko garantisado. Metikuloso akong tao, kaya gusto ko lahat maayos at sigurado. Lahat quality, yung hindi ako makukompromiso, pero sulit ang presyo. Ganyan ang clean fuel, kaya dito, panatag ang loob ko. Futang. Kung gusto mo ng dekalidad na gasolina pero sulit ang halaga, mag-clean fuel ka.
Sabado, sama-sama nating buksan ang regalo ng good news tungkol sa pinakabagong e-lotto at online games. Hatid ng Philippine Charity Sweepstakes Office kasama mismo si PCSO General Manager Mel Robles. Tunghayan din natin ang pakikiisa at pakikicelebrate ni OFW Party List Congresswoman Marisa Delmar Magsino sa 27th Housing Trade Exhibits mula sa National Real Estate Association at Department of Human Settlements and Urban Development at ang maligayang pagtatapos ng ating mahuhusay na TESDA scholars mula sa WCU Skills Academy Incorporated Class of 2023. But wait, there's more. Ipapasilip din namin sa inyo ang latest updates sa pinaka-inaabangang OFW Lounge sa Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Sabay-sabay rin nating kilalanin ang 5 video lucky winners na bumida sa papremyo handog sa ating ng nag-iisang OFW Party List Representative, Congresswoman Marisa Delmar Magsino. All this great news and more this Saturday, 5 to 6 p.m. sa OFW, Ikaw ang Bida. Dito lang sa SMNI.
Hey, we're glad you found SMNI News. If you subscribe to TV programs that help build the nation, then we got you covered. Watch your favorite TV shows through GSAT TV Channel 40, Signal TV Channel 186. And if you are a Sky Cable subscriber, you can watch SMNI in National Capital Region, Sky Cable Channel 162, Cebu, Sky Cable Channel 37, Davao City, Sky Cable Channel 14, 43, and 46, General Santos City, Sky Cable Channel 37, Zamboanga, Sky Cable Channel 53, Bacolod, Sky Cable Channel 37, Iloilo, Sky Cable Channel 36, Dumaguete, Sky Cable Channel 37, Baguio, Sky Cable Channel 14, and Lawag, Sky Cable Channel 10. You may also watch SMNI on digital TV in Davao City and Manila, and also in TV Plus and GMA Afford a Box and over 500 cable TV affiliates nationwide. Watch SMNI on digital channels in Mega Manila, Channel 39 and 43. We are also on analog TV in Lawag, Channel 35, Isabela, Channel 37, Vegan, Channel 38, Rojas, Channel 39, Butuan, Channel 39, and Davao, Channel 43. If you're on your mobile phone, download SMNI app or visit smni.com to get the latest news, updates, and more. Also, browse through the day's top stories and receive notifications for breaking news. Watch us live on our official Facebook and Rumble accounts, and you can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, so you don't miss out on our extra minute segments. Wherever you decide to watch, we're glad you choose SMNI News, the home of nation builders who bravely bring truth that matters.
We're back with more news. The Filipino seafarers held captive by Houthi rebels are gradually making contact with their families, as stated by the Department of Foreign Affairs. The agency also provided additional updates regarding their condition. Criselyn Catarong reports.
The 17 Filipino seafarers held hostage by Houthi rebels in the Red Sea are now making contact with their respective families. This was said by Department of Foreign Affairs Undersecretary Eduardo de Vega on Bagong Pilipinas Ngayon on Friday. He stated that 12 Filipino seafarers have already been able to call their families based on Thursday's report, and the number could increase in the coming days.
Sinabi ng Houthi rebels sa ating mga contacts na matatawagan nila, makukontak ng mga seafarers yung mga pamilya nila. At totoo naman, one by one nakakakontak para bigyan ng kumpiyansa naman yung kanilang mga kamag-anak na buhay sila. Ang ganda nga nakakaiyak daw yung mga tawag, no?
Furthermore, according to the DFA official, the Houthi rebels are providing food and not causing harm to their hostages. However, De Vega emphasized that it does not mean the Philippine government is content now that the seafarers are in contact with their families. Instead, the government's efforts remain relentless to completely liberate them and ensure their safe return to the Philippines. De Vega also shared that in fact, there are other countries collaborating with the Philippines to secure the release of the hostages from the said rebels.
As for their release, sabihin na lang natin from DFA, we're working on it, and tulad ng sinasabi namin, we'll allow quiet diplomacy do the work kasi meron tayong mga partners sa ibang bansa na tumutulong din. Japan, of course, pati Greece, galing ako doon, and other countries, of course, sa Middle East. Ang gusto nila, quiet lang tayo habang gumagalaw para mapalaya na. Hindi ay masabi kung kailan, pero mga kinakausap natin ay parang matitiyak nila mapapalaya din yung ating mga kababayan.
Yusek De Vega also stated that the Houthi rebels are not demanding money or ransom, but recognition not only as rebels but also a legitimate force. Furthermore, De Vega mentioned that the seafarers continue to receive their salaries.
Minsan ng sahod nga, hindi ko matitiyak sa itong situation na ito. Minsan may ina-arrange yung seafarers na yung sahod nila diretso sa bank account ng pamilya na pinapadala, yung participation part of it. So, tuloy po yung sahod.
The DFA reassured that the government will provide the families of the seafarers with the necessary assistance or aid package. The agency is also hopeful that Filipino seafarers will be released and will return safely before Christmas. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Criselyn Catarong, SMNI News.
The bilateral relationship between Russia and China allows full cooperation in the tech sector, as said by President Vladimir Putin during a panel discussion in the Russia Calling Forum. The details with Shekinah Dikinia.
The current relationship between Russia and China allows a full-spectrum cooperation in the tech sector, and this includes regard to its military application. This was said by Russian President Vladimir Putin during the recent panel discussion at VTB Bank's Russia's Calling Forum. Putin made the remarks after he was asked about the U.S. sanctions policy, which includes a ban on exports of certain technologies to some countries. But according to Putin, such restrictions were not viable in the long run, even before the world became profoundly interconnected. Putin also claimed that the current policies of the United States are meant to preserve its dominant status. Meanwhile, as for China, the Russian president assured that his country is ready to cooperate in every area. Putin further said, quote, "When it comes to security, we are moving away from the traditional bilateral kind of relationship. We think about the future, about technologies," end of quote. To recall, the United States has banned the export of advanced semiconductors using American tech to China, a move that the Chinese government sees as an attempt to contain their country. And in early November, Putin encouraged senior Chinese military leader General Zhang Yuzha to strengthen the military cooperations between Moscow and Beijing by collaborating on cutting-edge defense technologies. General Zhang has also pledged to deepen the strategic cooperation and coordination with Russia. Reporting for Newsline World, Shikay Nadikinya, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, Australia and France signed an agreement that will grant them reciprocal access to their military bases and training facilities. The deal comes more than 2 years after both countries had a public spat over the cancellation of a multi-billion-dollar contract to build conventional submarines. Jillian Libwit reports.
Australia and France sent a message to the world that they are now putting behind their differences concerning the AUKUS Trilateral Security Pact after they promised to grant each other access to each other's military bases and training facilities.
Australia's Minister for Foreign Affairs Penny Wong and her French counterpart Catherine Colonna signed the France-Australia bilateral roadmap earlier this week. Besides granting each other access to their respective military bases, the roadmap will also allow both countries to conduct more joint military exercises, more defense cooperation, as well as increased intelligence sharing. To recall, both countries had a fallout after Canberra cancelled its $90 billion contract with France in exchange for a $368 billion trilateral deal with the United States and the United Kingdom to build nuclear-powered submarines. The cancellation of the contract also forced France to recall its ambassadors from the United States and Australia.
Meanwhile, the U.S. Congress showed signs it could authorize as early as next week the sale of nuclear-powered submarines to Australia after the Republicans agreed to include the AUKUS legislation in the Biden administration annual defense spending bill. Reporting from New South Wales, this has been Jillian Libwood, SMNI News, Australia.
The South Korean Olympic Committee is pushing for the dispatch of hundreds of athletes to a military training center to enhance their mental toughness for the upcoming 2024 Paris Olympics. Last week, the Korean Sport and Olympic Committee advised domestic sports associations to send athletes to the Korea Marine Corps camp in southern port city of Pohang for a 3-day training. According to committee officials, over 320 athletes, including women, are expected to be sent to the boot camp. South Korean sports associations are being urged to have their athletes undergo marine-style training before major sports events. This marks the first time this recommendation has come from the Olympic Committee. This decision follows the Asian Games in China in October, where South Korea secured the 3rd position with the highest number of gold medals. After the Asian Games, Olympic Committee head Lee Ki-hung proposed the idea of marine training camp, and athletes will be accompanied by committee officials. Major South Korean companies and schools have also sent their employees and students to the Marine Camp and other military-led training programs. However, the Wrestling and Breakdancing Association of South Korea stated that they will not send their athletes to the Marine Camp due to scheduled competitions. The foreign ministers of Thailand and China met in the Chinese capital of Beijing for bilateral talks. Anissa de Guzman tells us more.
Thailand's Minister of Foreign Affairs traveled to China to join an annual regional meeting of Chinese officials and representatives of Mekong countries.
ปานปรีพหิทานุกร Thai Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs held talks with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Beijing. The Thai official traveled to the Chinese capital for the 8th Lanchang Mekong Cooperation LMC Foreign Ministers meeting. Wang told his Thai counterpart that China will always support Thailand in following a modernization path that suits its national conditions and in its desire to play a more important role in the international arena. The ministerial meeting gathered ministers from China, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, Myanmar, and Vietnam. The regional cooperation held itself as a golden example and has achieved remarkable results in the past 7 years. Thailand has relaxed its visa restrictions with an aim to attract 3.5 million Chinese visitors in 2023. รายงานจากราชบุรี นายชัดมงคลพิสมัยโกศล SMS News ประเทศไทย สวัสดีครับ
A startup company in Dubai has developed smart contact lenses that can imitate the technology featured in a famous sci-fi Hollywood film. Trisha Molina has the details.
Expansho, an international deep tech company based in Dubai, publicly presented for the first time 3 intermediate prototypes of its smart contact lenses. The company aims to create thin, invisible, and weightless contact lenses that seamlessly integrate augmented reality, health monitoring, and supervision features. It also features sci-fi capabilities, such as gathering and transmitting data, monitoring health in real time, and even providing night vision and zoom capabilities. Expansho's research and development team gathered 40 scientists and engineers from leading universities and research centers worldwide to develop the next generation contact lenses. The market size for smart contact lenses is expected to reach $20.72 billion by 2032. Reporting for Newsline World, Trisha Molina, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the message of the appointed Son of God. We cannot repay the Creator. All He needs from us is our gratefulness. And for Christmas countdown, it's only 16 days to go before Christmas. And that's all for today's edition of Newsline World. For more news update, you may visit smninewschannel.com or follow us on our official social media accounts on Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. For God and my country, the Philippines, I'm Trey Gomez. Thank you for watching Newsline World. And thanks to our beloved Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy, for the opportunity to be a part of this program. May continue to listen to SMNI as it delivers nothing but fair, truthful, and balanced news, because SMNI is your source of credible news.